It's hip to be square when you're amongst your peers in this space. There's a new book boutique looking to line its shelves with indies and start conquering the Midwest. And a Facebook party. Is it really worth it? Is there a way to maximize your potential earnings? We examine the results of our survey, along with new releases from a novel connection, and another great pick for your weekend viewing on Netflix from Taylor Talks. All that in This Week in Indies. Hello everybody, and welcome to GoIndieNow's This Week in Indies. I'm your host, Joe Compton, and I really thank you for joining us. I've been super overwhelmed by the response of this show. You guys have been great commenting, liking, and sharing, and beyond that, joining the discussion and bringing up great topics to talk about and giving us great information. It's been awesome. We're super glad. It's the reason why we decided to do this show. So keep it up, guys. It really means a lot to me. And thank you so much for allowing us to have a little bit of a break. We took a week off last week, but we're back. And it looks like, looking into my crystal ball, we're free and clear for the rest of the year. Maybe sans Thanksgiving week. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do a show for that week or not. It's a big family week. I'm not quite certain. I will, of course, let everybody know. Stay tuned here for that information. But as of right now, other than that week, you should be seeing This Week in Indies every week going forward to the end of December. I just recently read an article on Stage32. If you don't know what Stage32.com is, it's a site that's like Facebook for filmmakers and screenwriters and writers too. There's a lot of novelists who joined Stage 32, and it's basically just a networking site, and it's great because it's focused on the filmmaker, the screenwriter, and all the issues that we have as that type of artist. Even writing, there's just general knowledge about writing. One of the things that came out this week that I found was a article about a company that is starting to make some headway, and they've started within major metropolitan areas right now. That's all they're in, but they are expanding rapidly, and it seems like they grow every day. It's called Peerspace, and what Peerspace really is kind of the Airbnb for artists. It's a place where if you have a studio, or you have an extra space, or you have a retreat, or something that is not being used or utilized, it's a great way for you to put yourself out on Peerspace and rent out your space. But more importantly, for artists who are looking for spaces, if you're looking for a place for your band to rehearse where the music isn't going to bother your neighbors, or if you're looking for a place to record very affordably, if you're looking for a place to practice, do some classes, work on if you're an improv troupe, you need to work on your show, you can go, and there's spaces that you can use that for. There is writer retreats on there. I mean, there's a vast number of things you can do on the space. There are studios, there's photography studios, there's filmmaking studios, so there's places you can build a set on, there's places that you can use a green screen with, there's editing suite studios, and they're gearing this site toward indies. They're not trying to gouge you. What they're trying to do is find a commonality for people who have these spaces who need some extra cash, and for people who need these spaces to work and expand their horizons and work on their artistry. There's even like painting studios. It is amazing. I went on it yesterday and played with it quite a bit, and I can tell you that there's no limits to the amount. They've done a great job of optimizing their search engines and allowing you to customize what you're searching for. And there is no budget too small for this opportunity. They have studio spaces that were like $20 an hour. There were spaces that were like $50 a day. Most of the time you'll see it by the hour. But like I said, the only true drawback right now to this site is that it is in a major metropolitan area. But I did talk to somebody at Peerspace recently, and they told me that the expansions are going to be rapid and coming fast, and they will happen, and you will see them go beyond what they're trying to do right now. So maybe if you're in a rural area or an area that is not heavily populated, that might have opportunities for you in the future, you might want to bookmark peerspace.com right now and have it there available and just keep checking. It's not a new idea. It's pretty, we've been doing co-ops and shared spaces for a long time, but this way you don't have to make a commitment. You can go as you please. You can do it for an hour, you could do it for 2 hours and just go and never have to go back. You don't have to make a monthly commitment, or you don't have to make a year lease signing or anything like that. You can just go to the space, do what you need to do, and get out. Definitely go check that out, peerspace.com, and check out stage32.com while you're at it. My friend Jenn Thompson had a dream. She wanted to open her own bookstore in her hometown of Des Moines, Iowa. And after several GoFundMe campaigns, a social media blitz, and trying to drum up local interest amongst her community for this store, I'm happy to say that on September 9th, Thompson Books opens. And congratulations, Jenn, and I could not be happier for you and more proud of your efforts. You put it out there, you wanted to get it done, and as indies, that's what we do. We dream, we put it out there. Not all of us get there, but with hard work, perseverance, you can make it happen, and Jenn is living proof of that. So definitely there's a lesson to be taken from all of her effort and what she did to make this happen. But she also wanted me to let you know that she intends to make this as much an indie bookstore as she possibly can. And she wants to align her shelves with your work. So indies, get in touch with Jenn and work out what you can work out with her. She said she's willing to negotiate. She said she does work off of consignment, and she has a 75-25 platform, but she said she would be willing to negotiate and work. So definitely get in touch with her. You can get in touch with her through the description link below in our description box. So definitely do that, and put your books in physical form out there for a brand new audience of the Midwest to see. This is going to be an awesome opportunity, and I think that knowing Jenn and knowing what she's already accomplished, she's going to make this a very successful venture. So why not have an opportunity to be a part of that? Let's foster our community even further. Let's check in with C. Pentecoff over at anovelconnection.com and see what's new this week. If you don't know what anovelconnection.com is, C. Pentecoff will explain it to you after she gives you all what's new. We'll also check in with JB Taylor while we're at it over there at Taylor Talks and get his Netflix pick of the week. His Netflix pick of the week is actually a sentimental favorite of mine. It is one that is near and dear to my heart because it is the last movie that Philip Seymour Hoffman ever made. And he's an actor that influenced me in so many ways. I wish I had the opportunity to have met him, and from all accounts, he was one of those rare souls to meet. But I'll let JB Taylor tell you what he thought of it and give you the skinny on.
Welcome. I'm JB Taylor. This is Taylor Talks Netflix Pick of the Week. I'm here in my GoIndieNow t-shirt, courtesy of Joe Compton. Thank you, by the way. Super kind of you. This week, I bring you God's Pocket. This film came out in 2014. It stars a now deceased Philip Seymour Hoffman, and alongside him, Christina Hendricks, Richard Jenkins, John Turturro, Caleb Landry Jones. This film was based on a novel written by Peter Dexter. This was a dark film, but a beautifully acted film. It is about this just disgusting young man who dies in a workplace accident. His dad's a deadbeat, has gambling issues. The mom seems alright, but kind of stuck in a situation that she, in her mind, can't get out of. She misses her boy, and she doesn't think that what happened to her son was an accident. She thinks there's more to the story. So she sets out to find the truth, and basically while she's out seeking the truth, the dad, who, as I said, is a deadbeat and has a gambling problem, tries to make arrangements to have his son buried. For everyone involved, for Christina Hendricks' character or Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, things just get out of control for them, and subsequently everyone around them, their world gets turned upside down. It's not a film for the faint-hearted. It doesn't have, in the truest sense, a beginning, middle, and an end. It's really just about this small town, God's Pocket, a few days of just absolute insanity. For me, it hit some very strong points. I live in Indiana, in a small town, and I'm surrounded by other small towns, and I see a lot of the behavior that you'll see in this film. Backwards people, very racist people. They have a lot of pride in where they're from, and they do argue about stuff they know nothing about. That hit home for me. That was a very very true point the film made. Overall, it's gripping. The acting just pulls you in, doesn't let you go. The directing, the cinematography, everything surrounding this film was excellent. I highly recommend this film if you like dramas, if you like a story that is a bit topsy-turvy. It's a 4 out of 5. It was a solid film. That's all for this week's Taylor Talks Netflix Pick of the Week. I hope you enjoyed it.
What's up, everybody? I am author C. Pentakoff, fiction author and owner and founder of A Novel Connection. I'm coming back at you guys this week with more new releases in the ANC library. Okay, let's get started with our first one. Our first one is young adult book, and fantasy is its subgenre. It's called LIZZY in the Land Beyond by, I so apologize to the author because I know I am going to slaughter your name, but Susan McDonough WACHTMAN. If you saw the way it was spelt, you'd understand. Okay, so their one-liner is, hijacked by witches. Will Lizzie ever get home? In this story, Lizzie wakes up in another land and is told that she can't go back home because she was hijacked right before she was about to die. Can't wait to read that one. It sounds really good. So, again, that's Lizzie in the Land Beyond by Susan McDonough WACHTMAN. Okay, here's the cover, and then we're going to move on to the next book. Alrighty. Our next book is called Summer of Love, Lips and Verse. Now, this is a collection of poetry, love poems, by the way. This is by Charles Edward York. He actually currently has 4 poetry collections on our website under the Alternative Reads section. So if you're into poetry, which I am, I love poetry, go ahead. He's a very talented poet. He also has a few other on there, like I said. One of them is political. You should go check it out. Okay, I'm going to show you guys the cover, and then moving on to the next book. Our next book is 2327. That's the title, 2327. 27 by H.L. Roberts. This is a young adult book, and its subgenres are suspense, romance, and drama. Here's their one-liner. For now, the only thing that matters is the truth. Okay? This is a story about the pressures of fame. And one female rock one female rock singer, spills all the secrets on a Facebook live stream. Okay, so I'm super excited to read this book. It looks really good, looks suspenseful. I like suspenseful books. Going to show you guys the cover again. The book is 2327 by H.L. Roberts. Going to show you the cover, and then we're going to move on to the next book. Okay, so our last new release of the week can actually be found in our Kitty Connection. It is a children's picture book, and it is called Not Again! The Adventures of Brianna and Allison. Now, this is a really cute one. What I think is really special about it is that the two main characters, the two little girls, Brianna and Allison, are actually her daughters. Super cute. I love it when people put personal things like that into books. It makes it more special reading it. My boys really enjoyed it, especially because I think they're two brothers, maybe not sisters, but they're two brothers who are close in age, so they could relate. They thought it was cute. I thought it was cute. Your kids will love it. That is all the new releases I have for you guys this week, but while I still have you here, make sure you go to anovelconnection.com/cover contest. Go vote for your favorite young adult/adult covers in each genre, okay? Vote. And also go and vote for your favorite children's book covers in each genre. That's anovelconnection.com/cover contest children. Okay, and also make sure you go subscribe to A Novel Connection. A Novel Connection is completely revolutionizing the way that readers read and the way that writers build their career as an author, the way that scouts, we're talking publishers and agents, find new clients, okay? We have so many plans at A Novel Connection for the future. For the entire indie author community, not just for authors with ANSI. I am going to make indie books mainstream. Okay, and I'm completely 100% funded by readers. So in order for A Novel Connection to reach its full potential, we need more subscribed readers. So go to www.anovelconnection.com/subscribe, and you have access to our entire library of books, depending on whether you go for the Reader Connection or the Kitty Connection. Reader Connection is young adult and adult books. Kitty Connection is obviously children's books. We're talking picture books, middle grade chapter books. So yeah, we're talking $1.99 a month, $2 per month. And you are not only getting an awesome library of books to read for free, but you get unlimited downloads. You are helping indie authors. Okay, we're $2 a month. Do it.
So while we were gone, I put a survey out there to talk about Facebook takeover parties. I am one who has, for the better part of a couple years, used Facebook takeover parties as a great tool to market not only my book, but GoIndieNow. And it has been very, very successful to me. I think it's been well worth it, and well worth the time and effort. But there is great debates about it, and there are some drawbacks, and there are some things that make it a very interesting conversation. So I thought, well, let's check in with people and see how they feel about what they do at a Facebook takeover and how they approach it. And so we put the survey out there, and let's sit here and go over the results, shall we? So, as you can see, I asked 10 questions on the survey, and some of the answers were kind of surprising, but for the most part, I think it's right on par with what most people would believe when they took the survey, or if they were to read these questions. And so let's go over them, and hopefully you guys can all see this. But question 1 is, how often do you click attend to a Facebook takeover and actually attend? And the answer, I think, is this one is not that surprising. It's about half the time was the number one answer. That was about 35% of the vote. cast. And then you go down to less than 10% most of the time and about 25% a quarter of the time. Those were all within one vote of one another. And less than 10% was only a couple votes away from half the time. Half the time seems about right, though. I think that's what most people would expect. Question 2, what most draws you to purchase at a takeover event? I think this is the golden question that a lot of us wanted answered. So I put out specific answers, and then I posted an other just in case somebody else had something they wanted to add. So the 4 that I put out was author's personality, author's offering discounted special deals, author's blurbs and sample writings, other, and when an author does a character takeover. So the number one reason people purchase at a takeover event, or what most draws them to purchase, is the author's personality. That won over at 35%. Offering special deals was a close second at 32%, 1 vote away. And then blurbs was a little bit closer as well, about 25%. And then there was a couple other answers, which were, supporting their friends, or they liked a certain something that just drew them in and they couldn't pinpoint it. And then when an author does a character takeover, nobody was compelled to purchase based upon that idea. So when you do a character takeover specifically in there, I think that's a little surprising. I think a lot of people like to do the character takeovers. It's something different. It's something fun to do within the context of a Facebook party, but it obviously doesn't get anybody to purchase. So number 3, I think, is very good news for all of us. Another golden question: have you ever purchased at a takeover event? And 2/3 of the majority who took this survey said yes. 70% have purchased at an event. That's awesome. That is really, I think, the most gleaming factoid you can take from this survey. I think that means a lot if you like to do takeovers. Question 4, favorite part of the takeover event. So this is just a little bit of, some fun things here. This question's more about what do you like to do, and that's pretty subjective. I think this really is not surprising to most people. The bottom answers might be, but the top winners here, the meeting new authors, which got 50%, got the majority of the response, 45%. And then none of the other ones were really close. Playing games, adding to my to be read list, and doing an actual takeover were neck and neck, and within 1 vote of one another. And I think the bottom 2, doing an actual takeover and winning prizes, not getting the kind of votes that I expected in this question to get, really surprises me. I think people really want to support their indie community, so they want to buy. And if you could just give them a special deal, obviously based upon the last couple questions you saw, they're willing to go ahead and take a chance and buy it. And then doing an actual takeover. So this was, I'm from the survey analytics that I'm presenting here, I got mostly readers in this survey. So this is really good news. That should help a lot of people understand, what readers are thinking a little bit. So then they said, rank your favorite part of the takeover, and you offer it 1 through 5. This one I'm just going to quickly glance because it's just really, again, subjectivity. I could tell you that character takeover was the lowest rated of all of them. The highest rated was games, and giveaways was second only because it was like right in the middle. So blurbs and sample writings was right in the middle. So these were all very close to one another. Live feeds, which is kind of disappointing to me, but it's, it is what it is, was kind of at the bottom. Discounted promo posts down at the bottom as well. So if you see a takeover that's full of promo posts and all you're doing is posting promos, I think that turns a lot of people off. So maybe inject your personality, play a game, insert a game into your takeover. Number 6 question: when you don't plan to actually attend a takeover but don't want to hurt the organizer's feelings, you click interested. I think this is not a surprise to anybody at all. Nothing at all got a few more votes than I thought it would, but interested was the majority. It's almost 75% of you said interested. Nobody's surprised by that, and everybody understands what that means. The cool thing about interested, though, is, and I should have asked this question, and I didn't. Maybe I'll do it in another survey sometime in the future. But following up on that question is how many click on interested just so that they don't hurt the organizer's feelings and then end up going. Because I'm sure there's some converted interested to going. Number 7, when do you invite others to the takeover? This one is really super surprising to me, and I'll tell you why. It was very close. There was not a majority winner. There was 3 that are really tight to one another, as you can see on the right-hand side there. 1 vote separated them. When you're doing a takeover but not hosting, when it's your takeover party, or when you're asked to invite people, that's the one that surprises me, because you ask. I don't think anybody wants to burden anybody else and ask them to invite people to come and to invite people to come to this takeover. So I think people are willing to help you out. So maybe if you're doing a takeover, the next time you do one, or you're doing an event, you might want to ask people to invite people. You might be surprised by the results, and I think that's pretty cool. And then the bottom one, which got no votes, I think is very telling. I know a lot of people like this feature in the takeover where they offer to entice the people doing the takeover to invite their friends. They'll offer a prize to the one who has the most accepted invites. It's usually like a $5 Amazon gift card. Well, the folks on this survey say that entices them never to invite anybody. So that's real telling to me. I think that's a really interesting result. I think that you need to look at that if you're starting a takeover event. Maybe that's just not the way to get people to invite other people. Maybe it's just asking them. I think that's pretty apparent with what we're seeing with this survey. Number 8, how many events do you attend in a given month? Less than 2, 3 to 5, 5 to 10, more than 10. More than 10 got a lot more votes than I thought it would. It actually got 3 votes. But less than 2 is the overwhelming majority, and that was almost 60% of the vote. And that was 61% of the vote. And I don't think that's a big surprise to anybody. I mean, 2 in a month, that's really a lot. I think I do probably 3 to 5 a month. Number 9, of the ones you attend, how often are you doing a takeover in those? And 32% of you said less than 10. Now, this is another close vote. You can see that a lot of people admitted that they were a reader and not an author, so I attend them without doing a takeover. That was 5 of the 31 votes I received for this. So that's 16%. So you're getting a good sample size of what readers are looking at in terms of the amount of people who took this survey. Number 10, the perfect takeover length. This is absolutely not a shock whatsoever. With almost 80% of the vote, an hour is the perfect length. 30 minutes, I think people are turned off by the 20 minutes or less or all day takeovers, at least the ones that answered this survey. 30 minutes, got a few votes, but the overwhelming majority want to spend an hour with an author. So that's something to consider. I know that we like to do the 30 minutes or 20 minute or less takeovers to cram more takeovers in there to get more authors seen, but maybe spreading it over a couple days or a weekend might entice people to come back a little bit more. And because they're spending an hour with the author, I think an hour for somebody who does takeovers is the ideal one as well, because opportunity to do more and it allows you to space it out and gives you time, to answer people and talk to people and engage with people. And that's what they want. They want you to engage. That is the number one way that they decided to purchase something from you is when you're engaging them.
Ultimately, I'm not sure if this is overwhelming evidence to convince those of you who aren't doing takeovers to start. I think there is some compelling data here that would indicate that there is some merit to doing a Facebook takeover party, and for those of us who are doing them, it gives us some comfort in knowing that our efforts are being received, and shows ultimately, I think, that no matter what, we're a community that supports one another and will do whatever it takes to support each other, and that we need to listen to that more, that we need to, you know, not rely on it, but we need to embrace it and understand it. And I think I would definitely recommend taking a look at these analytics on your own, downloading them. The link will be available in the description box, and just going over them, and it'll make you better if you do. If you are someone who does a lot of Facebook takeovers, this will make you better and more effective. And those of you who may think about it or haven't decided whether or not it's for you, this might give you some insight into how to approach it. That being said, that's our show, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember, it's always time to go indie now. We'll see you next week.